Today it's on any topic in the cosmos. And we have in studio comedian Eliza Schlesinger.
You did it!
Did I say it right?
Yeah, if anyone could do it, it'd be you.
I just Schlesinger.
If you didn't do it right,
came out.
what hope is there? All the teachers' assistants out there.
So you were the first woman and the youngest person ever to win Last Comic Standing.
You did it.
Wow. So forget the first woman. You're the youngest person ever. That
ever.
trumps.
It does,
Oh,
yeah.
we shouldn't use, okay.
Use the word. That information prevails. We didn't want to say the word. It's become such an unfunny joke at this point. You might win.
So you're on TBS with a show Separation Anxiety.
Separation Anxiety.
Crazy sounding show.
Yeah, it sounds nerve-wracking, and it is, and it's
as it should be, as it's supposed to be.
As it's supposed to be. It was aptly entitled. So it really has to do with taking someone you know really well. We separate you, and then you have to pick the questions that the person you know is getting quizzed on.
Okay, and then hope they get it right.
Well, they get it right because there's $250,000 at stake, but they don't know that.
Oh.
They think.
Well, now they do because they just see you on the show.
It's all right though. We figured there's lawyers for that. They just won't be. You have to live under a rock to participate next season.
I got you. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So, as our longtime fans know, Cosmic Queries is when we bring in an in-house co-host comedian who reads questions from the universe. Of the universe drawn from our fan base, and I've not seen the questions.
Right.
And we just have fun with it. And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to tell you. Well, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to ask you if you know the answer.
I absolutely know the answer.
Both of us don't know the answer, then we move on.
You know how long I've spent staring at the cosmos wondering where my Uber is? I've spent a lot of time in space.
That brings to mind if space travel becomes a thing. We would need Uber spacecraft.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
College kids all over the place just be like, I got a great way to make some money.
Yep.
And there's no collisions.
Yeah, actually, it's much harder to collide if you're moving in 3 dimensions than if you're only moving in 2.
I say this all the time. I say this all the time.
It's a profound fact. Yeah. So think about traffic jams. You're in a traffic jam because you're on a road and you can't go over or
on a single plane.
You're not only in your single plane, on a road, you're on a one-dimensional path.
Right.
Typically, there's more than one lane, though. Regardless, if you're stuck in traffic, all you have to do is go above or below. Introduce another dimension, you can pass all the traffic like this.
And that's why we need space cars.
Space cars.
In this future, they always have them going through buildings.
I know. That was my future that we tried to come up with and failed.
So the Fifth Element was your idea. All those cabs and stuff.
Flying cars. We've been dreaming of flying cars since the 1950s.
I know, and it will be a thing, and it's going to be terrible.
But a flying car is no different from having a lot of bridges and tunnels.
Right.
It allows you to go above and below.
It's a lot different in that there's nothing holding you to where you are. You got a bridge, you have to stay on that bridge. A flying car is just like, let's just see.
However, if the engine brakes of a flying car, you are a falling brick.
True.
Right? That's the difference between being on a bridge or in a tunnel.
Right. Okay. So there's pros and cons. We'll say there's pros and cons.
And in fact, I think we do have flying cars. They're called helicopters.
Yeah, but
they're really noisy.
Helicopter is so expensive. Guys, that's how I got here.
Yes.
I've actually had that thought. I'm like, is there a way to get a helicopter? And I feel like these statistics for helicopters, I feel like they crash a lot.
Well, because when the motor goes out, it's, in a plane, if the engines die, it's a glider. And a helicopter, if the engines die,
straight down.
It goes straight down.
It shouldn't be an option that the engines die. Like, that just shouldn't be an option.
Shit happens, right?
Right? So we're gonna have to have like meteoroid insurance or like asteroid insurance.
If you're flying through space and you get hit by one,
like farmers, like we better cover.
That would be one. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, you could be hit by a micrometeorite going 5 miles per second. That would ruin your day.
Yeah, debris from like our last space shuttles.
That happens too.
It's an engine part. Whoops a daisy. Okay, fair enough.
So what do you have?
Okay, so do I do the Patreon page?
That's your first time doing this.
Yes,
I hope it's not your last time.
I hope it's not my last as well.
Okay, we'll judge that.
We'll be the judge of that. That's why I gave you the doe eyes, trying to flirt my way, which has not gotten me far. Okay.
So go for it.
These first?
Yeah. So what happens is we have our Patreon supporters.
Yes.
One of the guarantees they get is if they ask a question for Cosmic Queries, then we get to ask their questions first.
Okay. So I'm going to ask this one because I'm going to read it with the emphasis and the enthusiasm and the fervor that I feel they wrote this with.
Good. Go for it. Feel them.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Also, I think this person's also a fellow Jew. You're not Jewish. I am. Okay. Here we go. From Michael Cohen in Augusta, Georgia. Which is weird that there's a Jew there. Hello, Dr. Tyson. This question burns in my mind. I asked NASA and wasn't satisfied with their answer.
Ooh.
If light can't escape a black hole, then doesn't that mean that the escape velocity of a black hole beyond the event horizon exceeds the speed of light itself? Could black holes be the exception to the speed of light as we know it? Thank you, at Cosmic Cohen.
Wow, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was totally, you embodied whoever that Cohen person is.
I omitted the fact that you misused than instead of then. No big deal.
Did I say than?
Oh, no, he did.
Oh, okay.
Pointing out the one part that I understand, which is literature and
Be
grammar.
nice. He's the one Jew in Augusta, Georgia.
What? Then represent. Okay, that was the question about.
So yeah, so it's the question is stated accurately. There are two ways to think about the black hole. One of them is that inside the event horizon, the escape velocity is greater than the speed of light. That's kind of a classical way to think about it. But what has actually happened is the space-time curvature has basically closed in on itself. There is no path out of the black hole that you can take, no matter what. And so not even a beam of light can get out. So that is all true. You can't get out. By the way, just because the speed of light just because to get out of a black hole requires you travel faster than light, doesn't mean that you are. And so Einstein
doesn't mean you can't.
No, it doesn't mean you can. Right. So we're all cool. Relativity is fine.
So it's really hypothetical because you physically can't do it.
Correct.
So it's all in theory.
There is no known law of physics or observation that would enable you to escape a black hole.
Not even if you take the subway.
Right. Correct. So yeah. So I'm disappointed that they couldn't get a good answer from NASA. I wonder where they asked.
I feel like NASA was like, please stop tweeting at us. Like the Russians are hot on our tail. We've got bigger things to deal with. Please stop. Here's a mug and a hat.
How did you know that the Russians are?
Because they're always hot on our tail. Haven't you been to the movies? Okay. Would you like a real question?
Anything. Yeah. Give me whatever you got.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This one's. Is The Martian based on a true story? I'm just kidding. That was fine. Okay. This one's a good one.
I'm not authorized to answer that question.
I saw that movie and I was like, I guarantee if I tweet this, people will be like, oh my God, I thought so. I read the book. All right. This is from Jeff Jurchin. At Jeff Jurchin. Does space smell?
Ooh, yeah. So I once tweeted an answer to that question. So somebody is not a follower.
So you know what? Go back and look it up because you're lazy and there's no lazy in space. There's no lays in space.
So here's what happens. Smell is a chemical phenomenon, and it involves molecules interacting with your olfactory glands. And in the vacuum of space, where there's not insufficient molecules to trigger that, no, you're not smelling a damn thing.
So it has to do with the molecules outside and inside. It's not just all.
Molecules are outside, they come inside, and then you have smell what was outside, right? You're inhaling. So now here's a way to smell something. If you face the sun, and the sun starts singeing your skin on your face, then it'll burn, and then you'll smell the burning flesh.
How long are you facing the sun though? And how close? Are you saying
you have to be
space?
if you're close enough and you make this, yeah, you'll get singed, and you'll smell the singed outer skin layers.
That's horrific.
I'm just saying, you want to smell something in space. That's how you smell something.
You want to smell something in space?
Okay.
I got something. Wait, is that why we sneeze when we stare at the sun? Because it's slowly singeing our nose hairs?
I have that's never happened to me. Who told you that? That happens
I do it. If I get a sneeze, or sometimes any light source, even artificial, and you go like that, and they sneeze, stare right at the sun if you get a sneeze.
Really?
If you're on the verge of sneezing and you feel you're going to lose it, if you're going to lose your nasal orgasm, stare right at the sun.
Lose your nasal orgasm?
The sneezes.
A nasal orgasm?
Sure.
I had not heard that.
How great do you feel after a sneeze? And then like a little guilty.
It's good. No, but you have to watch out, because there are things you feel good after only because the act of leading up to it made you feel bad.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Like if you have to pee real bad and then your peeing feels good, well, it only feels good because you felt miserable right up to that moment. So anything feels
just
better.
getting back to homeostasis.
So exactly. So I'd had a lot of syllables in that word. Yeah, good.
I know a lot.
That's good.
That's why I was asked here. They begged NASA.
We did our homework on
Needed me after this guy. Okay,
Yeah, so you need air molecules, some kind of gaseous molecules and so that always had me wondering in spacesuits, if they're not properly ventilated, you could just smell yourself,
You could
while
die.
you're in a space. Well, provided it doesn't swap out your CO2.
Right.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
could smell enough farts to
Yeah. You could, if you farted. I don't know if the space. I'd ask one of our astronauts. We have
They
some.
won't answer you back at NASA.
No. Just ask if like below your waist effluences mix with above your waist effluences. Like, do burps and farts mix? If that's the case, you'll smell all of your body effluences. But I bet they have.
As long as it's mine, I don't care. Yours, I don't.
Somebody else.
Yeah. Okay. Let me find a good one.
It's true. People have a much higher tolerance of their own gaseous effluences than that of others.
Sure.
Someone needs to look into that.
I think I know why.
Why?
Okay.
All theories, all hypotheses entertained. Go.
Yeah. So, okay, here's what I think. All hypotheses considered, except for just mine. So when you smell something, like we're trained to, if you smell like a fart or poop, like you know that it smells bad, like in our brains, because it's telling us that it's dead and it's not something that we should eat.
Yeah, you shouldn't eat it. Yes.
But I think if it's coming out of yourself somehow, like there's a disconnect where because it's from you, maybe kind of how like if your own baby is ugly, you don't see it as ugly.
Okay.
I think when it comes from us, we're not as grossed out.
So we're psychologically predisposed.
Narcissist
to
and
not,
that.
to not completely reject.
Right?
Okay. All right.
That's got to be somewhere
All right.
on the spectrum, of right?
We got top people we can put on this.
Okay, I haven't seen any so far. Two producers, one's eating her lunch in there. And there's my managers over here.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Your dog is on the floor there looking forlorningly at you.
Just looking for answers
Yes.
from you.
Aren't we all looking
We all-
for answers?
That's why I came here.
Yeah.
Smartest person in a 12-block radius. Okay, I'm just going to read you a long one.
Go.
Sarah Wynn Belgeni from Facebook says, do you think that spacecraft using photon propulsion is a reality? I read several news articles stating we can use a laser, she wrote laser, to propel spacecraft to Alpha Centauri in just 15 years and to Mars in just days. Is this the same concept as a light sail?
It is precisely the same concept.
Great, next
as a light
question.
sail. Next question. Yeah. So you have your sail and you have lasers on Earth. Well, so here's what happens. So your sail can work with the sun, with sunlight. And it can move you to greater and greater orbits, and you can move to Mars or wherever else. And it's a constant source of acceleration. So this works. And if you keep accelerating, the speed that you measure for yourself is constantly growing.
Is the sail like a solar panel?
It's no, not a solar panel. A solar panel takes the sun's energy, sunlight, and turns it into energy you use for something else. This is simply a sail. You hold up the sail, sunlight hits the sail and bounces off, and the recoil, the momentum transfer to the sail pushes you forward. That's all it is. But now what happens if you're so far away from the sun that the sun's energy, they're not strong enough? So you take Mondo lasers from Earth, aim it at the sail, and continue to push it along its way. And lasers can go very, very deep into space, yes.
Yeah, but not into a...
Well, you can go into a black hole but not come out.
Not come out.
Right, exactly.
That's the right answer. Okay, here's one, because I recognize these words from science class.
Okay.
Pulsars, quasars, magnetars, neutron stars, white dwarfs, black holes. Are all of them simply dying stars?
Yes. Next question.
I'm going to look through these.
No, they're all different. Wait, go back. Wait. Okay, give me the list again. So there's white dwarfs on that list.
She is on the list.
Okay. The sun, when it dies...
Say white little people.
White, is that really? Yeah, okay, you're right.
And we don't say black holes, we say African American.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I'm just trying to make...
Yeah, that's right. So...
I gotta get you a better question.
Wait.
Everyone knows they're dying stars.
Wait, did you hear about the greeting card that talked about black holes? And someone thought they were talking about black hose, and like the NAACP got all enraged by
no
this.
one do the research?
No.
Someone like looked at the card and was like,
well, if black hole and other physics concepts are not in your vocabulary,
right,
you have no other way to think about black hole other than black hole.
I mean, that's...
I'm just saying, I try to jump in and say this is an education problem, not a racist problem.
It is a huge, which sometimes they go one in...
It's a non...
education problem.
But so all of these are the dying states of stars. Stars of different mass, and our sun will die as a white dwarf, which is an object the size of the Earth, and all the rest of the mass of the sun will be will escape into space and make a beautiful nebula, which we call they're actually called planetary nebulae. They're misnamed, but they're beautiful spherically shaped nebulae. And you look if you Google planetary, that's a galaxy. But planetary nebula are just gorgeous, stunning displays.
Are those the ones that looks like cotton candy almost?
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh,
Crab Nebula, that's one.
no, Crab Nebula was the death of a supernova, which leaves a neutron star, a pulsar, in its core. So the Crab Nebula has you go down to the center of the Crab Nebula, there is a rapidly rotating neutron star pulsing radio waves. And when these puppies were first discovered, we thought they were so perfectly timed that people thought that maybe there was an intelligent civilization sending us signals.
And you probably can't close to it because if it's a radio wave.
Well, if it's too intense, it's bad for you. But we're at good enough distance, so our radio telescopes detected it. But no, they were not LGMs, little green men, which is how they were first written.
LGM?
Yeah. Someone says, is this an LGM or not?
Look, I like how they're labeled green before we even saw them.
Yeah, plus we want them to be small so that we can dominate them.
Well, yeah. How do you think we're going to progress? Question.
No one ever imagines BGMs, big green men.
Yeah, they're probably not big. I would imagine aliens might be taller than us, but not heavier.
As they were in Avatar. They were 9 feet tall.
Yeah, which is a Bible. That's rhetoric. That's good. Perfect. That's that's how it's gonna be.
That's what's gonna go.
For sure.
Okay.
Movies are always right, eventually.
Blue people.
They could be blue.
You know what pissed me off about that movie?
What?
Okay, they're all connected, but they got this USB ponytail the way they can connect to their flying horses, and all of nature is one. When it was time for them to fight,
yeah,
the best that could happen was the rhinoceroses came, and that was it. I'm thinking, if you could summon all the power of all the living creatures on your planet, oh my gosh!
Okay, but if everything,
the tree would come and swat you. Oh my! If you could talk to them through your ponytail,
right?
Excuse me, they should have totally kicked ass.
Talking about intracranial Bluetooth capabilities.
Yes.
I can't even get my phone to connect to my Civic.
I'm just saying.
I can harness any other armies.
I'm just saying they had way more power that they could have tapped, given the premise of that story, than they actually did.
Maybe the message is when it comes time to war, maybe less is more.
And they're up there praying and stuff. And I'm thinking, you have the power over nature. Put nature to work here.
Right.
But
what can nature do for you?
Yes.
But when you run for president,
what have you done for me lately?
What have you done for me lately, nature? Thanks for all the shade, jerks. This is a question. What would be on? Because you said our son's gonna die.
Yeah, son is totally gonna die.
What would be on our son's tombstone?
I burned the candle at both ends.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
More tombstone options when Star Talk continues for our second segment of Cosmic Queries with Eliza.
All right.
We're back, and I'm your host, Neil deGrasse Tyson, your personal astrophysicist. My day job is at the American Museum of Natural History, where I serve as the director of the Hayden Planetarium. And I have with me Eliza Schlesinger.
Yeah.
Hey.
I read that in your bio, and I was like, Hayden Planetarium.
Oh, yeah.
Show. I hope no one's ever made that joke. You're welcome, Hayden. I'm here.
Yeah. So you do stand-up across the country.
Yes.
Is that right?
In the world.
In the world.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Does it translate to other countries?
Well, they're usually English speaking.
Okay.
Because
Sorry.
of us.
When I said translate, does the humor translate, not the language?
Oh,
yes.
I thought you meant the language. It does, especially in England. No. Sometimes
because they get our pop culture, right?
If you're asking me to come there, it's because you're a fan of my comedy.
You already know.
Let's see what this American weirdo does. But I'll do it for the troops. I've done a lot of shows in the Middle East.
Cool.
That's always very fulfilling.
Yeah.
Gratifying. And I was just in London, and their English is far superior to ours.
So we think.
So they think, and we think.
The first I ever heard the Beatles speak.
Oh, horrific.
Oh my gosh! I had no idea. I was a kid, and I didn't know what the hell. That's how old I am.
All British people, when you hear that, and then you hear them sing, and then Adele's like, "I've got my voice is ready to go. Gotta go on."
Like, what the?
Just sing everything from then on.
Right,
exactly. Take a fries and Coke. We all want to sound like the other culture.
Yeah, just sing, and we're good. Before we left off, you challenged me to come up with an epitaph for the dead son.
Yes.
And I said I burned my candles at both ends, and that was a little lame, I think. And I want another chance.
Okay.
Do you have one?
I have one.
Okay, ready? Okay, what?
The epitaph on the son's tombstone should be "Sick burn, bro."
Ooh.
Everyone hates me.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, let's.
Okay, I got one. Okay. This is spoken to Earthlings who long went extinct.
Okay.
I tried.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
What about I couldn't take the heat?
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Oh, this skill applies literally to no other avenue in my life.
Oh, that's right.
For, yes, celestial.
Stole with the sun. Okay.
You had one question that I felt I could answer in one answer.
Really? Okay, go. That gives me one fewer that I got to answer. Go.
Corey Moon at SF Moon.
Someone named Moon.
Yeah.
I love it. What phase is he?
Full.
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know any other moons. A blood moon, a harvest moon.
Harvest Moon.
Blood moon. What kind of sicko came up with that one?
Maybe he's amber and he's a honeymoon.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. Honeymoon is the
honeymoon. Sorry.
the June full moon.
I'm so focused on not sounding like an idiot that I'm like a honeymoon. Great. Okay. It's a celestial reference.
The June full moon is the honeymoon.
Okay, so you're not.
Many people don't know it, but it is, and that's how you get honeymoon.
The one that most men try to avoid being.
Possibly, but I wonder if June was not the traditional marriage month, and then what would the vacation you take after wedding be called? If you named it after those moons, it would have very different sets of names.
That's why it's got the word honey in it.
There's a wolf moon. There's a snow moon. There's a
snow moon.
Snow moon. Well, it's a winter moon. There are a lot of cultural references to moons. The honeymoon is so named because its arc across the sky remains very low.
Interesting.
And it retains the colors of sunset its entire path, which is a deep amber. And so it has an amber color even at its brightest. And so it's a honeymoon.
One,
yeah.
As opposed to the harvest moon.
By far, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
So what do you have? Take me there.
Well,
Cosmic queries.
He asks, has a nuclear bomb ever been tested in space? If so, what happened? Please visit Utah. And my answer is, yeah, that's Utah. That's how we got Utah. Terrible place.
All right, so we have never tested a nuclear bomb in space.
Chinese and the Russians.
No, but the sun is a nuclear bomb. Therefore, it is being tested in space continually
as we speak
by all stars throughout the galaxy and the universe.
Maybe his epitaph, the sun's epitaph, will be testing 1, 2, and then nothing else.
What happens if I put these these atoms together?
What do these two wires do?
So the difference is when we create thermonuclear fusion, it is uncontrolled and it's a bomb. When the sun creates thermonuclear fusion, it's controlled and it's a star. So that's the difference. We don't know how to control it.
How come when you do it, it's a star, but when I do it, it's a bomb? It sounds like an argument.
Yeah. No.
Sounds like a teenage galaxy arguing with the sun. How come when you do it?
That would be the sun's. That would be a badass argument.
Son of the sun.
Sun could invoke that argument. Now, the 2 times nuclear weapons have ever been used in warfare, they were detonated in the air, not on the ground.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and that is the birth of the concept of ground zero. It is the spot on the ground beneath the location of the explosion.
Okay, well
which is the
chills thinking about
closest point. And there are people who calculate this. How do you maximize the blast radius to kill and damage the most?
Do you know exactly how much the radius is?
Yeah, so you figure out what is the rate that this would grow, how much damage will it have, how much energy does it have, therefore what is the altitude? It was about 1 kilometer up. So that was detonated in the air. Then there were nuclear test ban treaties that came out, and one of them said you can't do it on Earth's surface, so then they did it underground.
Why can't you do it on Earth's surface?
Well, then they would scatter radioactive materials, right? So if you do it underground, then all the radioactive stays underground.
In the soil?
In the soil in that one spot. So you pick a spot where nobody lives and you do it there.
Utah.
Then they were banned entirely. And so...
there's got to be like half-lives or something. It can't just be like contained. Like it for sure.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's very hard for radioactivity to penetrate through soil. It's very hard.
No. No way. It's porous at best.
Yeah, but there are a lot of really, really empty places on Earth.
Utah. At home of NASA's proud new. I know NASA doesn't do radioactive nuclear testing, but maybe one day. Back to the question.
Utah. All right.
Utah.
What else you have? This is by the way, this is Cosmic Query's grab bag. So whatever,
Cosmic Query's grab bag. Okay. Lou Newcomb at Lou Newcomb.
Newcomb as in Nukem?
NEWCOMB.
We were just talking about nukes.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry.
totally.
I have nukes on the brain.
For
I'm
sure.
Sorry. Okay,
So
go.
it's apropos. Is active, it's not SETI, it's SETI.
SETI, you can pronounce it. Yeah.
We pronounce it, we say the acronyms here.
SETI. Go.
Is active SETI a good idea? Do you agree with Dr. Hawking that it could be risky?
Yes. Well, so I don't, okay, so SETI, we're searching for life in the universe. Fine.
That's the acronym?
Search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You didn't know what that stood for?
Nope.
Everybody knows what a
No way. Makeup artist, PR person,
Wait,
manager,
SETI?
dog on the floor? They
SETI,
don't know.
dog, Blanche, right?
Blanche, did you know SETI? Yeah, she knew it.
Yeah,
I don't know. Why does it have to have an acronym? Just
yeah, well, because it's easier. So here's the thing.
Okay.
So we are looking for life. Now, there are two ways of engaging SETI. One of them is
You're looking for life in all the wrong places?
We turn our telescopes and aim it at places and just see if anyone's trying to talk to us. All right? That's one way we're looking for life. That's actually pretty safe because if we find life, they have no idea where we are unless we send signals. So Hawking is concerned that if we start sending signals announcing where we are in the
position,
our location and what we're saying, then maybe we would be prime candidates for being enslaved or taken over or whatever. So he's worried that it's a bad idea to announce our presence. But in fact, there's not a damn thing we can do about it because we already have. And for the past 80 years, our radio signals and our television signals have been leaking out from our atmosphere. When they talk about being on the air has nothing to do with it. Radio signals move through the dead of space like it's nobody's business.
And soil. They go through soil.
A certain depth of soil. The radio waves can go through a certain depth of
At
soil.
Home Depot, they have a special kind.
Well, they penetrate through walls and buildings. That's why
It's going out anyway.
it's going out anyway.
Leakage.
So the earliest signs of life on Earth have already been established.
And they're traveling through space.
At the
They're
speed of
far out
light.
there. At the speed of
At
light.
the speed of light.
They're billions of light years away at this point.
No. Only
Nope, it's billions.
80 light years.
Okay.
They can't-
Agree to disagree? Put your hand on mine. They've gone so far.
I will agree to say you're wrong. Right.
Okay, that's not what I asked for.
So 80 years ago is when they began. So how far away can they possibly be by now?
You tell me.
80 light years.
Oh, 80 light years.
Yeah, because they're traveling the speed of light.
Okay, but
That's how
80
that
light
math
years
works.
in regular years is how many years?
80 years.
That's it?
So-
Why label it
okay.
a light year if it's the same thing?
No, because it's
We're
been
getting to
going
the
for
root of
80
something.
years to travel 80 light years. Now, if you want to say billions, so 80 times 5.8 trillion, that's how many miles away this
Well, I meant
signal is right
miles.
now. There you
I
go.
said years.
So 80 times 5.8 trillion, so it's 8 times 6, so
Four.
48, so it's 5. Yeah,
400.
yeah.
I'm gonna let you figure it out. I'm gonna let you say it. I don't want to embarrass you.
Yeah, so 80, so it'd be 400 trillion.
I was close with the 4.
Yeah, 400
'Cause
trillion
8
miles.
times 5 is 40.
Very good.
Thank you.
So,
Look at science at my high school. So it's far. But the point is, it's going out when we couldn't control it. It was
all I'm saying is it has washed over exoplanets that may have some kind of life, possibly intelligent life. And if they have the tools to detect our signals, they will infer what our culture was like. And I've said this many times before on the show, and we just have to suck it up that their first encounters will be things like the honeymooners.
totally.
And they'll learn how
The moon, Alice. We know where the moon is.
or they'll learn how men and women treat one another from seeing the honeymooners.
All the men are fat and all the women stay at home. with
Right, and the
clothes
men
in their hair.
threaten bodily harm.
Harm to their wives.
Right. Bang zoom to the moon, Alice.
But isn't that funny that it's
And why I oughta,
Yeah. Well, I think it's also where there's so many variables to that. We're assuming that if it's intelligent life, it's more intelligent than us, and it's understanding. Like there's so many. It's such a small equation that would be they're smarter than us and know what we're doing and are warmongering people.
Right. So the reason why
We're looking for us.
the reason why I don't agree with Hawking, because that's what started this.
I don't agree.
Hawking feels they might have evil motives.
Right.
And I claim, and by the way, if they come visit us in response to our signal, they are far more advanced than we are. Because we're still just driving around the block, boldly going where hundreds have gone before in low Earth orbit. So we haven't even been anywhere in 40 years and it doesn't look like we're going anywhere anytime soon.
Right.
So if they come here, they're more advanced than us. So he's worried that a more advanced civilization coming upon Earth might then enslave us. And I'm saying that while that may be true, his fear derives not from
scientific evidence from movies.
His fear comes from what he thinks aliens will do, but he's basing that on what he knows humans will do.
Sure. What else could you base it off of? Our own behavior.
He's assuming that aliens are as evil and as warmongering as humans.
He also read Guardians of the Galaxy before it became a movie. But yeah, it's an assumption, and it's all.
Maybe aliens are better than us in every way that matters.
My theory that I said during the break?
What's that?
Was that aliens are an advanced form of humans visiting us from the future.
Oh, okay.
Look at their brains are bigger.
All right.
Their eyes are bigger, which are things you would need. You don't have to use like a nice eyeliner. Like,
okay. All right. Yeah.
They don't have hair. We don't really need hair. They don't have sex organs presented, which is kind of an animalistic thing.
Okay.
And they seem to be very smart.
How do they mate? I mean, how do they know who to mate?
E.T. like that.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not.
You're coming up with the thing. I'm listening to your ideas.
You could still have sex organs. Like fish don't have boobs.
Not that you notice, but I bet to fish, it's totally happening.
If she dressed nice for me once in a while, I would pay attention to her. They have sex like aliens do. Remember the
animals have no problems finding out who to mate. All right.
Okay. So the aliens, it'll just
even though we need a lesson of which is the male snake and which is the female snake, they don't have any problems.
So neither do the aliens. So put your elbow to mine. I don't know what they do. Something gross that involves probes, obviously.
Elbow sex.
Elbow sex. All right. Here's another.
What else you got?
Okay. Tim Wall at Tim Wall 2016. So he just got that handle. If an astronaut jumped,
or he was just born this year. People tend to put
then you know what?
People tend to put their birth year in their handles. Go on.
If an astronaut jumped on a diving board on the moon, would he bounce higher or lower than on Earth? I know the answer to this.
Yeah. So the diving. Oh, you know the answer. Well, let's hear it.
Not gonna bounce. There's no gravity.
On the moon?
He's gonna go high. He's gonna go so high.
Yeah. There is gravity on the moon. Otherwise, the astronauts would just been floating there rather than walking. Weren't they? They were walking.
Yep. There's gravity on the moon.
Yeah. Just think that one through.
Go higher.
Yeah, you go higher. Yeah.
Because I knew that.
Yeah. So, no. So just to be clear, So one of them is you're trying to set mass into motion, okay? And your mass is your mass no matter where you are. But for a given amount of recoil, that same recoil will then send something farther on the moon than it would otherwise here on Earth. So that's why on the moon, when they hopped very far than they did here on Earth.
That's great.
Even though they had 200 pounds worth or more of life support, because 200 pounds they weigh 1/6, so 200 pounds would weigh only how much?
Half of 1/6. What'd you say?
So on the moon it's 1/6 gravity.
You trying to suck my chin in and look like I was understanding.
That's good. So on the moon is 1/6 gravity.
Yeah.
So if 200-pound thing on Earth would weigh 1/6, that's 6 of that on the moon.
6 of that.
Yeah. So
I can't do that. A half.
Put you on the spot. I put you on the spot. So you make up for the fact that you said it had no gravity at all. That was your way to.
That was just me getting nervous about interplanetary discussions with a renowned astrophysicist.
So there's less gravity, and you can do a lot of fun things. You can baseball games would be really interesting, and you couldn't throw a curveball because you need air to move it against.
Here's what I do know.
What do you know?
If you go into space and you jumped, if you were out of an orbit and you jumped in outer space off a diving board, you would just continue to. You wouldn't even.
Correct.
Because objects in motion tend to stay in motion. Sir Isaac Newton.
Yes. Give it up for Eliza.
Like in your head, you were like, please don't say her name wrong. Right?
Yes, very good. So you had physics.
Was.
You took physics. When did you take physics?
Long time, no.
But you remembered that. Good.
Long ago enough that I could have forgotten it. But I have a profound respect for physics.
Good, as we all should, because these are not just good ideas; they're the laws.
Yeah, they're the laws. Sometimes at home, I have a very small counter, and I drop my things off my makeup counter.
Yeah.
Every time something falls, I yell, "Gravity!"
Yes.
Angry. Okay.
What's next?
Please stop and just read the questions. Bobby Tenderflake. That is the cutest last name. Bobby Tenderflake.
Is that his voice?
It sounds like a southern, like, come here, little tenderflake.
Okay.
Bobby Tenderflake, which is either a porn name or you're very close to nature.
You know, let me tell you my porn name.
Absolutely.
It's Tuffy Arlington.
Why?
Yeah.
Is it one like the street you grew up on?
Yeah. And your first
Oh.
pet. Yeah. Tuffy
I think it's got to be
Arlington.
more Cosmos related.
What can I do? That's what street. I didn't choose what street I grew up on. It's just Tuffy Arlington.
Take it to another level.
But then I have to invent one. Then
I'll tell you how to do it.
Rules.
I'll
Okay.
tell you the formula. It's your favorite nebula and your favorite subatomic particle.
Okay, that would be the Crab boson.
There you go. Sounds like a disease, and we'll move on.
Okay.
Mine would be.
You've got Crab bosons, huh?
I would have to say crab just because it's the only nebula I know.
There's an ointment for that. The Crab boson.
Crab boson, there's an ointment for that. Bobby Tenderflake. At heavy sweating. Well, there's your porn name right there.
All
Heavy
right.
At heavy
We
sweating.
got like 20 seconds in this segment. Go.
If I went to pee on Pluto, would the pee freeze before it hit the ground?
Yes, it would.
Great.
It would. You'd make a pee arc. Yes, and then you would die because there's no air for you to breathe.
Yeah.
And you would freeze too.
Yeah, you just got your dick out.
Yeah, and by the way, you don't have to do that. There are plenty of other places in the solar system you can pee and have it freeze in midstream.
It's a man question. I go to mark my territory like an American.
And I could do that on Pluto. Can I still do it?
Yeah, can I make a pee spear? It would arc. You're saying it would arc?
Yeah, well, because that's just the trajectory of it.
Wouldn't freeze before it got to that trajectory?
It wouldn't matter. It would still follow the arc.
You don't think it would freeze a millimeter outside of your
No. Cosmic Queries edition with Eliza Schlesinger.
You look so angry.
Yeah, not grrr.
It's the Schlesinger part that looks like you're bearing it.
Schlesinger. How's that? Is that better?
Schlesinger.
Is that better? So what's some of your favorite material when you do stand up?
Of my
I
own?
love stand up. By the way, it's my favorite thing
you.
ever of anything.
Really?
Yes. And not enough women. We could get some more women, please, because the first time I heard women do stand up, oh my gosh, there's a whole swath of culture that I've never heard joked about.
And
Bring it on.
It's evolving now. I mean, of my material, you're asking me my favorite material of my material?
Yeah.
Well, if you guys like it, you can check out my Netflix specials. Got
Ooh.
Rising Hot and War Paint, and a third one coming out.
Netflix special. So like you on stage on TV.
Yeah.
On Netflix. Okay, I'm there.
On streaming television.
Okay.
Non-linear programming. I don't know. Observations, social observations between men and women. I love self-deprecation. I really like aggressive humor. I look at stand-up comedy as more of like a series of sketches with one person.
Okay.
Versus just
Interesting.
doing it
I like that.
in linear fashion. So it's colorful. It's textured. It's
Cosmic.
It's cosmic.
Yes.
Not a crab nebula. Crab nebula boson? Is that what you said it was?
Crab boson. Yeah.
Crab boson.
I love bosons.
I'll have the seared crab boson. Thank you.
Okay, so give it to me.
Question for you is
See how many we can fit in. Go.
more Emily Care boss at Emily Care. I don't understand what that beginning. So it's at Emily Care,
Okay.
which is an old age home for only women named Emily. What are the frontiers of research in astrophysics right now?
Oh, right now we're looking for dark matter. We don't know what is causing 85% of the gravity of the universe. We don't know what is making the
We're gonna figure that
Wait,
one
I'm
out.
not even done. Right, and there's a pressure in the vacuum of space making the universe accelerate in its expansion against the wishes of all the galaxies that it contains. If you add up dark matter and dark energy, it is 96% of all that is driving the universe, and we haven't a clue what they are.
Dark side is winning. It's Star Wars.
The dark side is definitely winning this contest of knowledge.
Something's out there just pulling.
Yes, and we don't know what it is, but we can measure it.
What does it have to do with?
We don't know. I don't know.
Can't even.
I don't know. We shouldn't even. I've said we shouldn't even call it dark matter, dark energy. That implies we know it's matter and energy. We don't even know what the hell it is.
It's evil, though.
It's
We know it's evil, and it's out there, and it's pulling,
because it's dark.
creating stretch marks on the universe.
Those are two, and we're looking for life in the universe, life on Mars,
You're
life
saying
in
go
Europa.
for it, and Hawking is like, no.
Well, this could be probably microbial. I don't think there's intelligent life lurking in caves on Mars, but life at all would be a boon to biology.
They find
no.
water bits on Mars.
Yeah, but not intelligent life. That's different. Yeah,
I think it's a little rude to call them.
it's a jump.
I think it's
It's a jump to go from oozing water to intelligent life with civilizations.
Well, you haven't been at Hollywood, so your definition of intelligent not the same as others.
Yeah, so I would say that. Plus, on the biological side, which affects the search for life, we don't know how to turn organic molecules into self-replicating life. that transition which Earth did apparently without any issues, without any help. So we don't know how to do that yet. So that's an interesting frontier. Once you figure that out, you can better decide what planet it might be happening on.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
There's your answer.
Bring it on.
Care for only Emily's. Mike Armenini at Armo15. Which specific sci-fi movie would you like to see remade because the idea was fine, but the execution was awful?
Ooh.
Make some enemies right here today.
Ooh.
Remade. My least favorite genre.
So I gotta, okay. They did The Day the Earth Stood Still a second time. And it was different, but I thought it could have been better, but it was good.
Tell it to him.
It was good. It was good. The Day the Earth Stood Still, because that was first in the 50s or early 60s, and then the next one had Keanu Reeves, and a few others. Kathy Bates was in it. So, but didn't have
Time for a remake.
Yeah. Well, how many times are you going to do it? So I would say The Blob. I think they should remake The Blob.
That's,
oh, yeah.
So that's just, okay, so I guess I think sci-fi. I think he was looking for more of like a space movie.
Oh, well, Blob is an alien that sucks your blood, and
but it's also a
that
blob.
was not an actor in a costume.
What about Invasion of the Body Snatchers? It wasn't done poorly in the first place. I'd like to see a remake.
But it was remade.
A remake of the remake.
Oh, yeah, okay.
No one talks about originals anymore.
Yeah.
Are you ready for another one?
Go for it.
What type of music do you listen to the most? Are you inspired by music and or the arts?
I'm deeply and always, and as long as I can remember, have been inspired by the arts. And my brother is an artist. He attended the High School of Music and Art in New York City. I attended the Bronx High School of Science. So very geeky, very nerdy. It's everything you think it would be is what it was.
You guys got both sides of the brain covered in that.
Totally covered. And I grew up with a kid artist who's now an adult artist. So that kept me sensitized, I think. And so I value what role artists contribute to society. And people say, what value is art to the security of our nation?
Those are like bankers.
Well, you get people who say that, but the answer is, the fact that we do art makes the country worth defending.
The fact that we're allowed to create art.
Yes.
Makes it worth defending.
Yes. And I listen to almost every genre of music that I can even think of. I like creativity no matter how it manifests. But if I were to pick one for the Desert Island Disc, or I would say for the space mission, all right.
You have a disc man on a desert island?
So just my playlist for my space mission would be heavily represented in the blues. I'm deeply, yeah, I love the blues. If I'm driving the car at night and the blues comes on the radio or whatever I'm listening to, I got to slow down, go to the right-hand lane.
Just feel it.
Just feel it.
Just feel it.
Yeah, the blues.
Every white girl secretly wishes she could sing.
Really? Sing like that, yeah.
Have that soul.
Yeah, it's got to mean something coming out of you. Like Janis Joplin.
Right, okay, so you're saying all...
People say, wouldn't she, suppose she wasn't so depressed and lived longer, she'd be more productive, then she wouldn't have been Janis Joplin.
She would have been even more depressed. I can't believe this is still happening. I've been saying about it forever.
Wasn't she from Dallas or from Texas somewhere?
That I don't know.
Okay,
I don't think from Dallas, otherwise that would have been rammed down our throats.
Okay.
Like year 2 of Texas history.
All right.
Wrong.
What else you have?
Another one? What is antimatter? Do we have access to it? That question by Andrew Sinclair on Facebook.
I wonder if these are people who have labs in their basement and they want to become like...
How do I get access to it? You need to buy some Sudafed?
What is antimatter? How do I get my hands on some? So as far as we have been able to measure, all particles of matter have an exact replica of those particles, except they're made of what we call antimatter.
The doppelganger.
Which, if they come together, they will completely annihilate and turn into pure energy. And so it's not just we discovered it first. It was not science. Science fiction does some stuff first. We did this first.
Right.
All right. We came up with antimatter, predicted its existence, discovered it.
How do you discover it?
Oh, so it's the product of other reactions. So you have regular matter, you smash particles apart, and in the particle stream you see antimatter. And the antimatter doesn't last very
How
long.
do you see antimatter?
Well, because then it
Is it a shadow?
annihilates. Yeah, you see its path through back there, cloud chambers and things. You see the path that it had traveled.
What about through soil?
You're still worried you want to store them.
Very worried about the nuclear reactions going through soil.
So it is real, and it would be matter, antimatter engines would be the most powerful engines, the most efficient engines we would ever know how to make if you're traveling through space, because you start with matter and then you have pure energy. And if you know your car that you drive, you said a Civic, or you were joking about a Civic. What is it? It's like only 20 or 30% at most of the energy of the gas you put in the engine is going to move your car forward. The rest gets dissipated as heat. That's why your car gets hot when you drive it. Imagine if all that energy went in to propel your car. You'd be going 200 miles an hour.
Harnessing energy.
Harnessing energy is all about.
Expended energy.
All about that. Exactly. And if all of your matter becomes energy, you got it. There you go.
Who do you think will win in the race to harnessing antimatter first, us or the Russians?
Why do you have Russians on the front?
It's like, still maybe talk about
You
this.
want the Cold War to come back? What?
Well, I don't think it ever left.
We have more resources than the Ruskies do, so maybe
He said it.
Maybe it's us.
He said it. Das Vidanya.
All right, let's go to a lightning round.
Okay.
Try to get as many questions as I can, and I'm going to answer in sound bites.
Okay. Are you ready?
Go.
Do I say the name of the person?
Just read fast.
Okay. What is complete stillness? Would you be slingshotted to the end of time? Would you be ripped completely from existence?
If you were completely still?
What is complete stillness?
Complete stillness, as far as I know, would have nothing to do with you traveling through time or being cast out to the edge of existence.
Also the name of a yoga studio in West Hollywood.
And in fact, nothing is completely still. There are vibrations at all levels, and even at all temperatures, including absolute zero.
That's true.
Matter vibrates. Next. By the way, it just vibrates more if it's hotter. But even at absolute zero, quantum fluctuations create vibrations in matter.
And at the smallest level.
Exactly. Go.
Okay. If there was no comet to wipe out the dinosaurs, how much harder would it be for mammals and eventually intelligent life to thrive? Could we maybe get intelligent dinosaurs?
Okay. So, great question. So here's the thing. Our mammal ancestors were running underfoot to T-Rex, trying to avoid being consumed as hors d'oeuvres. So, if the comet didn't come, the asteroid didn't come, it's not clear we would have evolved to anything unless we were on a completely separate continent.
Right.
Where the dinosaurs couldn't swim and then eat us. Then it's possible that we could evolve intelligence completely separately while there were major dinosaurs existing on another continent. And then when Columbus set sail and crossed continents, he would have just gotten eaten. That would have
there with like hats on, like, welcome to dinner.
Yeah.
You ever seen the way an iguana looks at you? Like it knows something. It's like, it could have been us.
Next.
All right.
So could dinosaurs involved intelligence? Not likely. Their brain cavities didn't look like, too small. Okay, next.
Bunch of jerks.
Go.
Okay. Is Earth gaining mass from space dust and impact rocks, or losing mass from evaporating gases and launching space probes? What effects would this have on GPS satellite?
Excellent question. So we are gaining approximately anywhere between 200 and 400 tons of meteor dust a day, which vastly exceeds spacecraft that we send out or lost evaporated particles in the atmosphere. So Earth is gaining mass daily. Consequences, that would be, it is not any worse than an elephant collecting a gnat.
Oh, wow. Is that small?
Yeah, or it's less. It's less than that.
These questions are more just me trying to, I have no idea what I said when I read it, and just me trying to look like I know what's going on. I cannot process.
20 seconds.
Okay.
Let's do it quick.
Even if we somehow discovered the tech to travel at or faster than light, would passengers of the vehicle survive?
So it's not the issue is not how fast you go, is what is your acceleration. Acceleration is what kills you. Deceleration is what kills you. Right. All right. So in a plane, you're going 600 miles an hour, and you're just fine sipping tea. Speed doesn't kill you. Speed has never killed you. It's all about acceleration. And I actually wrote a little essay for Motor Trend magazine on acceleration.
Who doesn't get that? Who isn't subscribing to Motor Trend magazine?
And I said it's not all about the speed, it's all about the acceleration, because that's what you feel, and that's the feeling of going fast, whether or not you actually are.
Oh.
That's right. So no, go as fast as you want and enjoy.
Go as fast as you want. From Neil deGrasse Tyson. Don't wear a seatbelt and enjoy your life.
That's not what I said.
Pretty sure that's what you just said.
Fist bump out of this. Eliza Schlesinger.
Still an issue, huh?
Yeah. We will look for you on Netflix and on TBS.
Please do.
Coming to a
Galaxy near you.
galaxy near you, a
Pulsar.
stand-up galaxy near you. Avoid pulsars; they're bad for your health.
Dark matter.
So I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson. You've been listening to and possibly watching Star Talk.